Good evening. Let's talk to Cutler family and friends. How is everybody? How's everybody doing? We are here. We're here. Let's chat. Let's talk. Let's talk. Today is Thursday. Let's see. I'm hearing make sure that I don't necessarily hear this echo back here, but how's everybody doing? It is Thursday, August 27th, 2020. How's everybody doing? How's everybody coming along? This is Cutler on the Let's Talk to Cutler platform, Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast. And as you know, we're here every Tuesday, every Thursday. And for the next 1800 seconds, you've invited me into your home, your living room, your family room, your den, your kitchen, but certainly not your car unless you pulled over and that you parked safely. And we're going to chat for the next 1800 seconds. Let's see who my LTTC VIPs are for the evening. LTC VIPs, where are you? Looks like Lady down in Georgia is one of our 3 LTTC VIPs for this evening. Chat back, let's talk. Looks like Velma down in North Carolina is one of our LTTC VIPs for the evening. We have room for one more, space for one more. Let's see who's going to be that person. Then we'll resume our conversation. We'll chat, we'll keep on talking. Let's see who our next LTTC VIP is. As I sort of wet my throat and get ready for this conversation, somebody chat, say something to me. How's everybody doing? We got room for one more. And it looks like Sonia down in Atlanta is our 3rd LTTC VIP for the evening. Now, again, for those of you who are new to the platform, please make sure that you go ahead and click on the like. That's the thumbs up. Go ahead and click on the like button and make sure that you share this video. Share this link. Let somebody know that Cutler is on the Let's Talk to Cutler platform. And again, so our LTT VIPs, just in case people don't know, that's our top 3 people who come on in the room and sign on for the evening. So it's always good to see everybody. All right, I see a few other folks signing in, a few other folks watching. Make sure that you join the chat and you make sure that you have your book. Of course, you guys know that we are discussing Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're talking from this book here, Billboards to Better. This is my 7th book that just came out June of this year. I'm so excited about this. I love being able to talk to you all and feel like I'm in your family room and in your home and in your den. So let's get started with this conversation. But if you don't have the book, make sure that you go on to gbcutler.com or go over to amazon.com and pick up the book. If you have Prime or something, they'll send it to you the next day. But make sure that you get it. And let's go ahead. Remember, our Tuesday conversations are going to come from our Sunday, Monday, Tuesday motivational sayings. And then our Thursday conversations are going to come from our Wednesday, Thursday, Friday motivational sayings. And then we're going to leave Saturday. Saturday is all day your way. Look at the motivational saying, the inspirational moment, and share that with your friends, your family. Make it a part of the dinner conversation. But all right, let's chat now. So we've got about 1800 seconds to make this thing work. So it's good to see everybody. Let's just jump right into the conversation this evening as we look at August the 26th motivational saying. Now, it says, blessings. Good evening, everybody. I see you all. It says that blessings are not based on what you give, but where you give them from. Obviously, that really deals with matters of the heart. So when I think about, have you ever received something and you just didn't feel like the person who gave it to you really, really meant that gift? They didn't have that sincere kind of thing to it, and it made you feel some kind of way. You thought, well, okay, if you're going to give me this, I really want to know that it's from the heart. And it is the same way. It is the same way. So when we talk about being a blessing to other people or being a blessing to people's lives, what we know is that if you really want to be a blessing to somebody, it's not about what you give, but it's about where you give from. Let's talk about that on a broader scale, a greater impact, probably more global impact. If you're going to have, if you're really going to truly have an impact on somebody's life, your impact does not necessarily come from what you give with the hands or what you do for the people, but you do know that your greatest impact comes from the motives and intentions of the heart. Because what I've just discovered in life is that the worth of the heart it's the worth of the heart outweighs the weight of the hand. The worth of the heart is more than the weight of the hand. So that means what comes from here, what comes from your heart, it's worth so much more than the weight of the thing that you do with your hand. Have you ever heard about people cooking with love? So whether you cook or whether you sew or whether you give gifts, it has to come from the heart. People will know when you're not genuine. They will know when you're not sincere. I'd rather have one nickel from the heart than $500 from somebody who gives it to me from their hands just to be seen. Now, yeah, absolutely. I know that I can probably do, not probably, but I know that Cutler can do a whole lot more with the $500. But it means more to me when it comes from the heart than it does just from the hand. Got a story for you. One of my brothers, um, I remember a relative gave him this shirt. A relative gave him this shirt, and if you all know this story, you know the people that I'm talking about. But a relative gave one of my brothers this shirt, and every time my relative saw the brother with the shirt, the relative would say, "Oh, isn't that the shirt that I gave you? Isn't that the so and so that I gave you? Isn't that this, that, and the other that I gave you?" So my oldest brother said, if you got to talk about the fact that you gave me this shirt every time you see me, let me just take it off and give it back to you right now. Because what he was saying was that I would rather it meant more coming from your heart than a status that every time you see me, you're going to check off the button that says, oh, I gave you that. And that's the way it ought to be when we're impacting people's lives. When you're having an input, an impact on people's life, let it be from your heart. Don't do it just so that you can say, check, I did that. Or so that you can look good in people's eyes, or so that you can look good in the eyes of somebody that will build your rapport and your reputation. No, it's not about that. Character is what you do for people, and you don't care if you're ever seen or recognized. So let us do things from our heart. Let us do things based on the character that we possess, based on who we are called to be. And then when you know that people are doing things from their heart, don't make them feel bad. Don't make people feel bad because somebody just wants to be nice. Somebody just wants to be benevolent. Somebody just wants to be kind. So when people want to do a kind thing for you, allow them to do that. Because what you have to realize is that a lot of times when people give, when people do, when people bless, when people help, it's just as much about them as it is about you. They want to be kind to you, yes, but it helps that character to know that I help one of God's creatures. I help part of God's creation. Let people be kind when they want to be kind. Let them be nice. Let them be genuine when they want to be nice. Yeah, I get it. Sometimes we look and we wonder about the motives of people. But there are some people who feel so much better when they do for people, right? And you all, I'm talking to you from a very transparent place because I had to learn, and I'm still learning to let people do kind things and let people do nice things and let people be a blessing because while they are being a blessing to me, they are blessing their own lives. And I want to say that to you this evening. Don't have so much of an ego until you don't let people be kind to you. Don't have so much of guardedness about yourselves. And as I'm saying this to you, God knows I'm saying it to myself. Don't be so guarded that you don't allow people's kindness to penetrate your heart. Let the kindness of others penetrate your heart this week. And while the kindness of others is penetrating your heart, I promise you, you will reciprocate and want your kindness to penetrate somebody else's heart. So then the writer says, for our August 26th moment, the writer reminds us that blessings are not based on what you give, but where you give them from. And that's from the heart. Cook from the heart, smile from the heart, speak from the heart. Sow from the heart, call people from the heart, speak from the heart. Whatever you do this week, just do it from the heart. All right. So again, if you're going to have an impact, if you're going to have an impact on people, remember that impact that comes from your hand is just temporary. but the impact that comes from your heart is life sustaining and life enduring. The most things that I remember about people don't necessarily come from what they did, but how they did it. Wow. And you want people to say the same thing about you, that what you did pales in comparison when they discover that your motives for doing it came from a pure heart and from a genuine spirit and from good, clean motives. So let's act from the heart. Let us act from the heart. So again, do it from the heart and less from the hand. All right. That was our August 26th. What do you all think about that? That's our August 26th motivational and inspirational message for what would have been what was yesterday. Have you all ever had people who did things and they just did it from the hand and you really didn't feel the love, you didn't feel the sincerity, you didn't feel the genuineness, you didn't feel the impact, right? So let us be the model this week. That's just one thing. I just wanted to share that as I think about people going through so many things this week and this month and this year, people who are going through some very serious things. I received a few calls just today. Just today, I received a few calls and I was told about a father-son team who both died today. I was told that the father died, and then when the son heard about it, that it impacted the son so much until um, his heart, he suffered cardiac arrest. He had a heart attack and died. And I thought, good God Almighty, what that family must be enduring during this time to have to suffer two deaths in one day, a father and a son. And I would hope that whatever people seek and set out to do for that family, it's not about name recognition for them. It's not about status and status quo and statistics, but it is from the heart. Because I've just discovered within the past, not just discovered, but I've experienced a little more within the past few days that when you do something from the heart, it will lift the weights that people carry on their shoulders. My God, my God, my God. What you do from the heart will help lift the weight that others are carrying on their shoulders. And that is something that I've experienced more this past week than I think I ever have during my entire life. So be an impact, be a blessing, be be somebody else's source, and all that you be it from your heart. All right, let's go on because we only have 1,800 seconds and I got to talk to you about a few more things. Remember, we're reading from Billboards to Better, 366 daily sources of motivation and inspiration. You all, we're going down the highway of life, and we're going down this highway of life together. We're going down this highway of life together. I feel a little bit better about having you all on this ride with me. All right, let's go on to August 27th and see what the author says. It's an interesting saying. I find it quite interesting. It says, your small brush strokes or your small brush stroke is adding to the big picture that God is painting for somebody else's life. Choose your colors carefully. Wow. Wow. Your small brush stroke is adding to the big picture that God is painting for somebody else's life. So choose your colors carefully. Do you not know that whatever you say, whatever you do is having an impact and it's affecting somebody else's life? So whenever you have inroads into other people's lives, be very careful, not just about choosing your colors, but be very careful about choosing the instruments that you're going to use when you walk into people's lives. Be very careful because you are a part of the picture that's being painted of their lives. And you, to some degree, we are the editors of other people's lives a lot of time. We're the editorial staffs for other people's lives and how they might look and how they may be interpreted and how they may be viewed a lot of times. So then we have to be very, very careful about the tools and the colors that we take into people's lives because as the artist, listen, hear me carefully, as an artist, as, as an artist, your signature is going to be left on any painting that you paint. And when people look at your signature on somebody else's life, you want to ask yourself, did I help to create a masterpiece? Or did I end up making or causing massive chaos? What did I do with other people's lives? And we have to give a lot of thought to that, because one of the things that I don't want to do as an artist, stroking or brush stroking into somebody else's life, I want to make sure that I help with the masterpiece and not with a major catastrophe, so that when their picture of their life is framed and my signature is written on that person's life, I want to make sure that my contribution to that person's life was a contribution to the masterpiece and not to the major catastrophe. Your signature is left whether you want it or not. You're making an impact whether you intend to or not. Choose your colors carefully. And don't just choose your colors carefully as you walk into somebody else's life, but as an artist, choose your tools carefully. Choose your paintbrush, whether or not you're going to stroke gently and help them to get through the hard times in life. Whether or not you're going to make sure that you choose a brush with smooth bristles, so that when life is hard for somebody else, you've added smoothness to the rough places in their life. Or that you're going to choose the rollers in their life, so that when they have these dark spots and these dark stains on their life, you have a roller that's wide enough to just paint the sunshine of God onto their lives. Or whether or not you're going to choose, whether or not you're going to choose the cloths, so that you can create wonderful and beautiful designs in their lives. Make sure, for God's sake, that when you're going into somebody else's life as an artist, that you've chosen your tools very carefully, because your imprint into the painting that they will one day frame or that people will look at about that person's life, your signature is going to show up, and you want to be very careful, very conscientious, very intentional, and very deliberate about making sure that your impact was one of positivity. That's what it means to be a good steward over somebody's life. We are the editorial staff of each other's life. And then I will say to you, from a different perspective, while you're going into somebody else's life as an editor, while you're going into somebody else's life as an artist, as a painter, as a contributing painter, because God has given you inroads into their life, while you're doing that, do it and be very careful. But by the same token, that means people are coming into your life, so be very careful about who you allow into your life. Because if I'm having a rough moment and I need you to gently stroke my life, at that moment, I don't need you trying to scrape off any of the painting that's on the canvas of my life. You're causing me more damage than you're doing me good. Choose your tools carefully, so then when people want to come into your life and they come into your life with the wrong tools, you say, you're not the artist of the day. There's another artist in residence. When I was teaching in the community colleges in North Carolina, I taught at 2 community colleges in North Carolina, we had artists in residence. So that means we would only have one artist who was there for this particular semester or this particular year. And that was the artist who was charged with the responsibility of forwarding and making sure that the whole campus had a greater appreciation of the arts. What we saw, it was spreading the arts across the curriculum. It was spreading the arts and the influence of the arts across the campus. You have to make sure that the artists and residents in your life are the ones who are bringing beauty to your canvas, who are bringing beauty to your masterpiece. You've got to make sure. And if they are not, guess what? You have the right, you have the authority to say, you know what, I'm sealing up your can of paint. I'm bagging up your paintbrush. I'm throwing out your rollers, because you are no longer an artist that is welcome into my life. So just as you're going to become an artist in somebody else's life, be very careful about the artist that you choose to paint on your canvas. Don't let everybody paint on your canvas. We could have another entire conversation all about that. Be careful. Don't let everybody paint on your canvas. And when you get ready to paint on the canvas of other people's lives, again, remember this: your small brushstroke is just small, but it's still significant. Your small brushstroke is adding to the big picture that God is painting for somebody else's life. Choose your colors carefully. Very, very carefully. Choose your colors carefully. Suppose somebody is going through a painful situation. Suppose somebody is going through a hurtful situation, and you're choosing dark, drab, macabre, morbid colors. They don't need that added to their life. How many times do we go into people's lives without really thinking where they are at the moment? We go in with our conversations and we just start talking without even perceiving the space where those people are in. We go in with our intents in terms of what we are going to get from the conversation without thinking, what is it that I need to give? I'm going into the conversation, but before I try to decide what I'm going to get, I need to think, in this instance, what do I need to give? Ever had people who just started a conversation with you and you say, listen, I don't even feel like hearing that today. That's not what I need to hear. Those are artists who came in without assessing your canvas. Mm. They came in and they had on what we call, maybe they had on their painter's belt, but they didn't assess whether they needed all those tools that day, that evening, that moment, that time, for that space. So I charge you, when you go into people's life and you get ready to paint, make very sure that you choose your colors carefully. Make sure that you choose your tools carefully. Make sure that you're adding to the canvas what needs to be added to that moment. All right? So then, not only that, I want to get to this next one. But I'm really stuck on choosing your colors carefully. Make sure that you know what people need when you go into their lives. And if you're not sure that you know what they need, ask them. Ask them. And when you ask, be prepared to listen not only with your ears, but to listen with your heart as well. That really takes us back to the first one that we talked about that says blessings are not based on what you give, but where you give them from. You're impacting somebody else's life is not based on what you do all the time, but it's based on where you do it from. Because if you're going to be a good steward over anybody else's life, if you're going to have a good impact on anybody else's life, you're going to lead yourself into their lives with your heart. You're going to lead yourself into their lives with your heart, or at least you're going to let your heart lead you. Because if I let my heart lead me, then I won't have to forgive myself for doing something that my mind told me to do that my heart told me I shouldn't have done. We connect more with people on the heart level than we do on the mind level. Why is that? That is because we always remember, and Dr. Maya Angelou said it, because we always remember how people made us feel. And remember this, people are going to remember how you make them feel. So when you start choosing your colors and how you're going to paint a person's life, or whether or not you're going to do water paint, a very vibrant paint, or starry nights, whatever you're going to paint it with love. Choose the colors that match the hue of what's going on in their lives. A lot of times we just start brush stroking and painting in other people's lives, and we haven't even taken a chance to see how big is that canvas. What is the undertone of their spirit at the time? All right, I could stay there and have this wonderful conversation. But what I want to do now, because you all do know that we only have 1,800 seconds, and my time is drawing nigh. But I want to go to August 28th. That would be our motivational, inspirational message for tomorrow. And August 28th, it simply says this: something you do today is going to get God's attention. So be very careful, because he might just respond. Something you do today is going to get God's attention. So be very careful, because he might just respond. We often, we used to sing when I was growing up, we would sing songs like, turn the searchlight from heaven on my soul. And if you find anything that shouldn't be, take it out and strengthen me. I want to be right and saved and whole. And we used to say all of those things. But what we didn't realize was that whether or not we asked for searchlight to be turned down on us, God was looking. God sees us. He sees and he hears and he knows all. And as I grew up, it made me think, my God, I need to be very careful with my life. And I need to be very careful because I am under the huge watchful eye of the creator of the whole universe. Yes, it's wonderful to know that he sees me. It's wonderful to know that he cares for me. It's wonderful to know that he's guiding me. It's wonderful to know that there's a relationship that comes from creator to creature. But I had to think then, what is my responsibility back from the creature up to the creator? And what kind of response is it that I want to elicit from the creator? My response, I want the creator to be happy. I want the creator to smile. I want the creator to be happy for having created me. I want the creator to smile for having created me. I want to please God. I want to make God happy. Because whatever you do, hear me clearly, whatever you do in life, for every action, there is going to be a reaction. And at a minimum, I said this Tuesday when we chatted, I said for every reaction, there's going to be a minimum of an equal opposite reaction. There's always going to be a response to something that you do. It may be subtle or silent. Wow, but there's going to be a response. Because trust me when I tell you this, you don't always see the response, you don't always hear the response, nor do you sense the response. But trust me, there is always a response to something that you do or say. Every action comes with a reaction. And in my mind, the one thing that I want to do as I think about walking and journeying down this highway to life, one of the things that gives me hope, one of the things that gives me peace, one of the things that gives me motivation and inspiration these days, I say to myself, I want to be a friend to all of creation. Be careful how you treat creation. Treat it as a friend. Be careful how you guard your life, how you handle your life. Treat it as a friend. Be careful how you treat this journey. Treat it as a friend. Because what you want to do, you all, yes, you want to make life happy. You want to make God happy. You want to make creation happy. But don't you also want to make yourself happy? So as you're journeying through this life, be careful, be very careful about what you do and what you say. Be deliberate, be intentional about being good, about being kind, about being upright, because it's your life. And you want to look in the mirror at your life and you want your life to smile back. Sometimes you just got to say, I don't care what anybody else does, but I want me to smile back at me. I want me to smile back at me. And I want to do something. I do want to do something. I think about how sometimes we can become so discouraged about the things that are going on and the things that are happening. And even in the darkest of moments, we don't see hope. We don't see a glimmer of a light. But there's always a light. You can turn, as long as you're living, you can turn in every grave. Or you can turn in what seems like a grave. Listen, for people who know me, and this beautiful 23rd Psalm where David was saying that he walked through the valley of the shadow of death. It wasn't really death. David said, I'm walking through what looks like death. But what I discovered as a writer is within the creativity of writing is that you can turn over in every grave, every live grave while you're still breathing. Everything that looks like a dead situation, you have the capacity to make the best of it. And so I urge you, make the best of it while you're living. I want to share this with you. Listen, it says turning in my grave. Turning when life was happening. I was raped, beaten, and molested, stripped and left for dead, but no one came to my rescue. No good Samaritan, no good son of a bastard, daughter of a dog, Lord. Turning, I was emotionally violated, psychologically penetrated, castigated, and kicked in my ambition. Some laughed, some smirked, some stomped my aspirations down. Turning, my arm was twisted, wrung like a wet mop, popped the bone out of its socket, and left my strength dangling, dislocated, disconnected from my soul, discolored with deceit. Turning, I was abused, socially sodomized, wounded, and misused, and blood oozed from my dreams. Slow, warm, disgustingly putrid. Turning, I found myself in a tomb where someone had been, where life reached an end, but something remained. I was alive, and my soul regained inspiration. Turning around, I touched dead bones, realized they were not mine, and my soul was revived. This has been 1800 Seconds on the Let's Talk to Cutlass show. Thank you so much for inviting me into your living room. Thank you so much for inviting me into your kitchen. Thank you so much for inviting me to your den, wherever you may have been. I hope that you will join me next Tuesday as we read from Billboards to Better. Thank you, and I will see you then. This has been 1800 Seconds. Thank you for allowing me into your living room.